Hello, welcome back to my new reading log. So this week I don't have anything planned, so I'm just gonna read what I need to read, especially new releases. So we're gonna start with Windbreaker. This is a current new volume, volume 10 by Satoru Nii. So in the last volume, they're about to enter a brawl because this group of guys are looking for a certain girl named Shizuka because they were hired to grab her and return where she belongs. And so Sakura, Nira, and So are involved in this fight, but they were stopped to go back to the bar because they want them to protect Shizuka. However, Shizuka decided to go to the scene where the brawl was because she didn't want anybody to get hurt, and however they stop her because they really want her to stay because of all the things that she's done. And at the same time, we got Tsubaki, one of the four kings from Furin, decided to intervene and help with the fight. And now he's like fighting with the leader of that group of guys that want Shizuka. When it comes to the fight, Sakura's side, they don't have enough men, and so the bad guys had more men. However, now this fight is more focused between Tsubaki and the leader. So their fight went really well. In other words, at the very end, this group of guys had a really bad, happen on their past because they live in a community where they have nothing. Let's just say they grew up poorly, and so they had to share everything, whatever they had. And so the leader decided to come out with a group of people where maybe they can get hired to do mostly bad things. The fight between Tsubaki and the leader, he really wants to understand why they're doing this, and then slowly the leader decided to express he grew up poorly, he didn't get what he wanted, and now Tsubaki wants to help him. However, he kind of denied him, and so at the very end, he decided to I really don't know what I want, but I think in hopefully he does change his mind and accept his offer, because these guys don't really have a normal job besides getting hired to do bad things. And then this district where Tsubaki is working, even the guys on the good side was saying hey, we're hiring people, we need people, we can help you if you need a job. And so now the bad side have a change of heart. Hopefully they do have a change of heart and maybe stop this fight, because it seems they just need a good path or some way to have a better life than what they're doing right now. And that's what I love about this story, is because even there's a lot of fight, there's always a message during the fight, and you can learn a lot from these people, where they came from and how they end up being where they are now. And so that's why I like Windbreaker, even though there's a lot of violence, but at the end there's always a good moral of the story. Not only that, Sakura is also seeing a lot of new things that he haven't felt or seen before. And so Sakura is learning that even though people may seem weak or a coward, or it's showing that they don't give up, he realized that it's okay to be weak, it's okay to give up, as long as you just keep going. And that's why Sakura is seeing so many things, and he's kind of in shock, but at the same time impressed. So Windbreaker, I really like the series, I really like the anime as well. Hopefully, I think they've been releasing every other month, so I think this was released in the beginning of April, I'm not quite sure. So hopefully the next one will be June, because I can't wait. Oh my gosh, I just love this cover, it's so cute. We got Panda, the Red Ranger, and our main character holding a steamboat. So this next one is called Mr. Villain's Day Up, Volume 6. This is the current new volume. It's a slice of life about our main character. On his day off, he likes to spend at a zoo or anything new that he wants to try and experience. But during his work days, he spends his time in the office trying to come up with a plan how to conquer Earth or claim Earth, because that's their main goal or end game. And then the protector of the Earth, they're called Rangers, so he's one of them. He's the Red Ranger. So time to time they do bump into each other, but most of the time they don't fight because he's not feeling for it. He just want to make sure he's spending his day off at a pace where he can just relax, because during his work days it's very stressful. On this volume, he was not happy to work 7 days a week because he would rather be off than working, and so he was not excited. However, he had to make sure that his fridge is filled with a lot of treats because he loves to eat sweets. So on those 7 days, he had to work really hard, and then finally on his last day, he was super happy. And he does have a pet robot that he found in the last 2 volumes, so he just hangs around and sometimes tries to help out because he doesn't want to feel useless or thinking that he will get thrown out again. So other than that, he did meet the Red Ranger during his 7 days of work, but he was like, I'm not in the mood, leave me alone. This story also focuses about a little boy and a little girl. They're like spirits, and during cherry blossom they would come together, and then sometimes he would visit them, and then one day they were watching over a boy and a girl because they think that whoever comes to the next to the cherry blossom, like something happened about love and stuff like that. So that was a cute scene. And then they also like talk about the ranger's life, what their day-to-day looks like. Now one of the ranger named Black, he's not really much around because he has the guard duty during nighttime, and so most of the time during the day he's sleeping. And so this time they really want to make sure like he's awake to do something special because the other ranger wants to take a special picture together. So that was also nice. But really like this slice of life. There is an anime, so I'm hoping they will continue that anime. At first I did stop collecting this manga and then start reading from my library, and I started enjoying it again, especially watching the anime. So this series has only 6 volumes so far, but in Japan there's 7, so this is a slow release manga, which kind of makes sense. I think it only released either 1 or twice a year, so you know what, I don't mind because probably the mangaka wants to take its time, and you know what, it's really worth it. Really like the story. Now this manga is very thin and a little bit pricey, but you know, I tried to get this at Instant Trade. Forgot where I get this, but yeah, really good series. It's all about slice of life. I definitely recommend this if you're into that. I'm so sorry in advance, my washer, actually that's my dryer, it's on right now. So what we have next is My Dear Detective. This is volume 2. Now the first one wasn't very impressing for me, and so this time this volume is actually pretty good. Now in the last volume we were left of them getting kidnapped by the bad guys, and also they were hired to solve a case because a boy was missing, and then everything went well. After that, they found the boy and the bad guys was caught. Then their second case was they received this riddle and they were able to solve that. It was regarding about a worker who's been working too much, and then they sort of like help him, you know, with his case, and yeah, that went pretty well. And then the third case was about his brother. His brother apparently lost his memory, and then that on this train that he took derailed. However, Miss Hoshino solved, of course, that he could be lying, he wasn't on that train, and that he was planning to see somebody. And so the volume kind of left like that, which is like, oh my god, it's getting good. What's wrong with the brother? Why is he lying? I think it's because he probably feels pressure since Saku, they're like stepbrother, and Saku is actually more knowledgeable than the older brother. Maybe he felt a lot of pressure, maybe that one day he has to take the company because his father actually owned a department store in Ginza. However, Saku decided to have a different life. He wants to do whatever he wants. I think because growing up, there's been a lot of comparison with him and his older brother, and I think he just feels bad because he seems to be the smarter one instead of the older brother, if that makes sense. At this point, the older brother could be lying and he's hiding a secret, and now they gotta figure out what's going on with him. I think he might be meeting a certain someone because they found more clues on his room. So yeah, this volume is not too bad. It's getting good. I like it a lot because in the first volume it wasn't very like cohesive. And so this one, yeah, everything is pretty good so far. And so now I'm not sure when the third volume is coming, because the first volume came out around last year, September or October. So I think this series is a little bit in the slow start, but you know what? It's not bad because it's still new. So we will see how the story goes, and hopefully we'll find out what's the mystery behind about the brother. All right, I just finished reading this big fantasy and also an isekai, which doesn't feel like it. But what we have here next is Magic Artisan Dahlia Wilts No More. This is volume 7. Let's see. Art by Megumi Sumikawa. Story Hisaya Amagishi. Character design Keihachi Komada. So on this volume, Dahlia learns a lot of having etiquette manners. It is because when she meets all this different clientele, they could be nobility or higher rankings like captain or commander. So apparently, like, there's certain ways she has to act or even dress, as well as the way you stand. And so that was a lot for her, but at the same time she learned something big, that if she used too much magic or even used dangerous stone, it will shorten her lifespan, because her level of magic, she's not supposed to, like, conjure something very dangerous, because it will again shorten her lifespan. And in order to like handle dangerous stones or anything that she wants to, she has to be a certain level, and that is level 9. And so she's learning all this type of things that she didn't know from a certain nobility, because he knows a lot, and this guy is also an old friend of her father's. I'm gonna be honest, this volume had so much information to attain, because this story focused so much on the business sides ever since Dahlia started her own business. And when it comes to that part, I usually skim it. Do you guys do the same? I just feel like it's a lot, and like, you know what, let's just skim it and just let's get to the point. Anyway, besides that, now Dahlia is just going with the flow. Like, it feels like she's just being demanded here and there, but at the same time, at the end of the day, her friend survive. I think that's like the only thing that will make her feel peaceful, because they just love, being together as friends. So again, the romance is very slow burn, which is fine. It's also cute that these two always plan something for the future, even though they are just friends, but you kind of want them to just like fall in love and, just spill it and confess it. And so now, once Dahlia like become more famous when it comes to her invention, apparently like her status changed. Like, that was something new to me as well. I guess in the story, you start as a commoner, then you become like a baron or a viscount, and so on. And so, pretty interesting story. At first, she just want to become a magic artisan that wants to invent a lot of things, and now that she's involved with the business side and maybe her title will change, it's like, wow. I mean, you can learn a lot from this story, but at the same time, it can be a lot, I'm gonna be honest. Oh my god, I went ahead to check when volume 8 is coming out, and it doesn't even look like it's gonna come out anytime this year. It's gonna come out next year, spring. So this volume 7 came out last month. So that's almost like an entire year. I'm like, what? Because this volume ended up with a weird cliffhanger. One of Serval's friend was talking to Dahlia, and he said, quote unquote, stop making them cry, which is kind of weird. Oh my god, I can't believe it's gonna take almost an entire year to find out what he meant by that. And so that means I'll see you guys next year. I'm just joking. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a while to find out what's gonna happen next. I think I'm gonna try find out if I can read this online, because I don't think I can wait that long. So we will see. Alright, just finished reading this series called The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl, read 8 and 9. This is by Miyuki Tono Gaya. So this is an office romance manga where finally Himuro finally confessed to Fuyutsuki about his feelings, because there was like a sudden news that Fuyutsuki wasn't really getting transferred permanently. She wanted to try something different and new, and so there was an opening and she decided to go a different branch all the way in New York, and this made Humero realize that she won't be around. But then he found out later that she was gonna be only gone for 6 months. However, he did still confess to her about everything he felt, and of course she was happy. I think it's because she probably felt the same way when it comes to him, and now they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Of course, I'm so sorry I kind of went ahead, but before all that happens, you just have your typical offense romance. They go shopping and drinking, and they do have other friends from the same office, and so they always like have a blast outside of work, going on trips like beaches or different area in Japan. And so again, an office romance, very cute and adorable. I do like the story, but like it did took a while for Himuro to finally confess, because this is a slow burn romance, which I don't mind, but you know what? It was so worth it until what? I think it took until volume 8 that he finally confessed. Obviously, they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Now that she's back, it was a bit awkward for them because, after the confession, she left, and then 6 months later, they reunited, and so it took a while for them to get adjusted. Of course, they went on dates. Again, it was sort of awkward, and then eventually their coworkers find out because they've been acting kind of weird. So everybody's, their friends are so happy because they already know that Himuro had a thing for Fuyutsuki, but of course Fuyutsuki didn't really show so much. And yeah, everyone's so happy. Such a cute romance. I definitely recommend it. However, this is a short chapters manga. As you can see, it's very thin, but you know what, I really like it because the illustration here is amazing. I'm a big fan of their cover. It's always like pleasant to see. I mean, look at that. And let me show you guys the illustration. This is probably one of the best. It's so striking and very detailed, and I think it's the way it's also like colored in, if that makes sense. It just stands out so much, and all the emotion, of course, is so cool to look at. And yeah, there is an anime. Really enjoy the anime as well because they did follow, but of course they probably made some changes, but I don't quite remember. But all I know is the anime was pretty good. So other than that, there's probably gonna be new volumes, but I'm not quite sure when is the next one. So of course, I'm gonna look forward to reading more of this office romance manga, and we'll see what will happen next. Now they're boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm actually gonna end this reading log. It's pretty quite short because I had a unexpectedly long shift, and tomorrow I'm expecting some visitors, more like family visitor, and some kind of like prepping and stuff like that. And so I read about 5 different series. It's still good in my opinion. So we read Windbreaker. Hopefully the enemy will have a change of heart. We got Mr. Villain's Day Off. Really enjoyed this story, just so relaxing. My Dear Detective, it's finally getting exciting and looking forward to read the next volume. We got Magic Artisan Dahlia Wilts No More. Even though this volume was more the business side, I got to learn a lot of things as well. And then lastly, we got The Ice Guy and The Cool Girl. Finally, it finally happened. Himuro finally confessed to Fuyutsuki. I'm so excited what's coming next for both of them now that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this reading log for this week. I'm so sorry it's quite short, but it is what it is. And so thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.